Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In tonight's video, we're going to be painting a Christmassy, what am I calling this? I guess a swag with a bow and some vintage ornaments. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll show you step by step how to do it. I've got my husband, Mark.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man of chat tonight, so you can ask questions while I'm painting. Let's get started. All right, so I've got a head start on it, just painted the background, so we're have plenty of time to do the rest. I put out a ton of different colors too, also to save time. This one is going to be kind of a little bit more complicated than some, so I want to give us plenty of time to do it tonight. So I'm using an 11 by 14 inch canvas. Hi, welcome. Glad you're here too. Before I jump right in, say that. Super glad you're here. Hope you're enjoying your Christmas and have a good Thanksgiving couple days. All right, let's go over our colors.
Ooh, wait a minute, I wasn't ready.
Sorry.
Okay.
I hate it when it does that. Splits it weird. Here, I'm going to do that because that bugs me. All right. Carbon black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, yellow oxide, cadmium yellow light, Indian yellow. This one is Titan Mars Pale. It's one of the colors I used in the background. This one is Titan Violet Pale. Okay, so Titan Mars Pale and Titan Violet Pale. Those two together are what's on the background. I'm going to show you how to mix up a dupe, though, if you don't have that. Naphthol Pink, Cadmium Red Light, Quinacridone Magenta, Ultramarine Blue. In the corner, spreading out, is Phthalo Green Blue shade. This one is Titan Green Pale. And this one is, nope, that's light phthalo green. That one is teal. This one is sap green. This is the Titan Green Pale. Sorry, I've just got all these different colors here that I don't normally use. And then this one is green gold, unbleached titanium. My titanium white is in the corner, and so I had to put my glazing liquid in this corner. All right, so I still have some of that background color here in case we need it. All right, I saved a little bit of it right here.
Right.
That's
maybe,
what's there.
Maybe a C+ there.
Yeah, that was rough. So if you don't have all these colors, don't worry about it. Just you can mix all the new colors that I added. My normal palette, you just need one of the phthalo greens and a blue, like an ultramarine blue, and then the magenta and like a cadmium red light, and then your yellows. So you can skip off all these extra colors if you need to. But it just makes it a little bit easier and more fun because we've got all these fun colors to play with. So let's get going here. All right, so I want to figure out kind of generally where I'm going to put this little swag. So I think I'm just going to use some green chalk here and mark out sort of my boundaries. I may change and do some like little leafy bits, just so that it's not just pine leaves, pine needles, and I might change the ornaments too. This was part of a challenge video. This is actually a painting that we did component parts for. So we painted all the ornaments on paper, and then I cut them out digitally, and we made a fabric. And so I showed that in my challenge video last year. And these ornaments each took us like an hour, so or a couple hours. So we're definitely going to have to speed it up. So thus the non-having to mix colors will save us time. And I mixed greens like these all the time. So these ones that have more blue in them, you just add a little bit more blue to your green and white. And then the ones that are more yellow, you're adding more yellow. So it's not... it doesn't have to be the exact same colors as what I'm using here. All right, so I'm just going to grab a kind of a large flat that'll kind of do some nice leafy bits. And I'm going to start out by putting like kind of a grayish green that's kind of close to this background color. So I'm going to maybe start with some of this Titan Pale, Mars Pale. Titan Mars Pale, yes. So Titan Mars Pale is very close to a burnt sienna. So it, or Titan Mars, just the Titan Mars and white is what this color is. So if you don't have Titan Mars yellow, then you can use burnt sienna and white and get something very similar to this. All right, so that, and it's also pretty close to our burnt unbleached titanium too. And then let's just grab a green. I think I'll use my little bit of the sap green maybe. And you can see I don't need a lot of the sap green to affect it. And we've talked about sap green before. I'm not really sure exactly what. It's like phthalo green and maybe a tiny bit of black or burnt umber. And, oh yeah, that's nice. Okay. So I want it to be kind of pale for this first layer. And I might want it even more yellowish than that. I might grab some of this Mars Violet Pale, which is, the Mars Violet has more violet in it. And it, yeah, that's good. Okay. That's what I want right there, where it's like gray. You can see it, but it's really light. And then that way we'll have some like depth to this background. So I'm just going to kind of swipe with this brush kind of along this edge this way. And just kind of do a little bit of each of these colors and just get my shape of the general. What do I have under there? Oh my gosh. I don't know if that happened. I have no idea. It rolled underneath.
No, because you read the name.
Oh, I read the name and then I just set it down underneath.
You set it there and then
that's funny.
that on top.
It's really funny. I'm like, why is there a bulge in the canvas? Anyhow, I can't remember what I was talking about. Okay. Welcome. Oh, the Titan, the violet, the Titan violet is violet oxide. It's in white. So this light violet color is violet oxide and white, which is kind of like if you took magenta and maybe some burnt umber or burnt sienna, like it's kind of a, it's a kind of like the name sounds. It's just a oxide, which would be, one of these earthy colors. It's earthy violet. It's dark. I can show it to you here on my thing real quick. It's that color right there. So, the magenta is way too bright, but if you add like a red oxide or a burnt sienna to it or a burnt umber to it, it's going to get it down to that kind of more earthy color, and then you just add the white to it. So, and there's the Mars yellow right underneath the burnt sienna, so you can see it's just maybe a little bit lighter in value, but it's pretty close in color. The undertone is similar. So again, I'm using it because it's easier, not because it's necessary. So don't go out and run out and buy it if you don't have to. I just like to have in certain, colors. It's fun to have all the colors. So that's just me.
So you were just talking about the shape that you were painting when you got interrupted by the paint bottle.
Oh, what?
The shape of the needles and stuff.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So doing a little bit darker there. That's kind of where we have our bow coming out, and I think that'll be good. All right. So that first layer, we're just kind of wanting to lay down some, distracting stuff in the background. Kind of just helps give us a little bit of depth in there. Okay. So then now I'm going to be a little bit more deliberate about where I'm placing some of these needles. So I might switch to like a little bit darker. I think I'm going to use some of that sap green and some of the phthalo green together. And the nice thing about using sap green is it's a pre-mixed green, so it's already kind of a good neutral color. So you don't have to do too much to it to get it. Like you don't have to add in a lot of browns or anything. A lot of times I have to add brown or neutral or even red to make my greens more usable. I do think I want to gray it out a little bit, so I think I'm going to grab a little bit of black, and that's why I put the black on here, because I figured we'll need it for the silver. And then I did want to kind of gray this green out, so I want it to be kind of muted. I don't want it to be sort of the first thing you notice about it, because I want the ornaments to really pop. So if we mute our greens, then the ornaments will really stand out a little bit more. All right, so let's go ahead and do just a couple. I'm going to just kind of pull down here like this and just pull along the edge back and forth. Kind of do your original like line there, and then just go back and forth, and kind of don't forget to do straight down towards yourself. So just along that line. Okay, let's do another one here. So kind of the line of it, and then just kind of going back and forth in the same spot, kind of from that original stem, trying to keep my brush is kind of getting a little bit widen out. I might need to switch, but I can come back in and add some lighter colored branches to this, and I might just add a couple in between here. Okay, so that's what we're going to go for right there. Let's maybe add a little bit of the phthalo green and some black. So just for a different color here. Maybe in here we'll do a little bit different, more blue-green. We are going to use teal in our ornaments, so I'm trying not to go too blue-green with my greenery here. Too blue with my greenery. And make sure that you're not making little ladders. So you're doing your center line. Make sure you're not doing this. You know, evenly spaced marks and stuff. I mean, it's fine if that's the look you're going for. But a more natural look is going to be having some coming down in the middle. So that will help. Just kind of doing some straight down on that same line. And I'm just tilting my brush this way back and forth to pull out those branches. So that already looks more natural. Then another thing we can do is do a more extreme tilt. So I kind of kept all the tilt sort of the same angle, sort of from here to here. So if I kind of come out a little bit more on a few and kind of crisscross these so that they're doing this. Maybe not that drastic, but you get the idea. They're going to be crisscrossing each other like that so that you're getting more natural looking bushy pine needles, okay? So I'm going fast here, so I just want to kind of slow it down, break it down a little bit for you so that you kind of can follow it and paint along. All right, I'm going to get some burnt sienna, add that to it. That is really soupy. I don't know why it's so wet. Okay, so every now and then just kind of randomly throwing out a few little things, but I like the color story we've got going on here. I might add some more of these light green bits here and there, just because we're kind of covering up most of what I did already. And okay, that looks good. Let's go ahead and get some more here. This is what takes so long. It's just, you know, there's a lot
Hey,
of little.
we get a question.
Uh-huh.
Why did the turkey cross the road?
Oh gosh. I don't know why.
It wanted everyone to think it was a chicken.
It's good. All right.
There's more to come. Don't
You gotta
worry.
laugh. All right, getting some of the lighter green here and just kind of going back over very lightly here and there, changing the direction. It's not fully dry there, but you just kind of want a few darker and lighter value places here, and we'll probably come back in and darken up these values a little bit too. So let's go ahead and kind of have one coming out this way. Hopefully not going too fast here. Okay, so kind of getting thicker lines here. So I could switch brushes, or I can just kind of press down to get that brush more flattened out, and then I should, yeah, get thinner lines. And also I need to be careful that I'm not twisting my brush too much as I'm, or pressing down too hard as I'm pulling those needles. But I kind of don't mind these kind of random shapes because it feels a little bit illustrative to me, you know, like a little bit retro. So that's kind of the style I'm going for, is sort of impressionistic. So having like a little bit of thicker, more expressive brush strokes are not necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of stylistic almost. Reminds me of that Disney-like vibe, you know. 60s vibe. That's the... Okay, getting some darker. I added the black to the phthalo green blue shade. I used the blue shade, just... You could use Cobalt Teal or Phthalo Turquois or something like that too. Not Cobalt Teal, because Cobalt Teal is too light. Like it's too light. You kind of want a darker value, and then add your black to that. All right, let's just go ahead and throw some up coming this way. Again, just kind of trying to vaguely follow a line there. We're going to have a lot of this covered by our bow, so I'm not too worried about it being perfect at this point. I'm going to kind of touch up edges and kind of, you know, correct things and add details later too. So just trying to get some color out here. This is that Mars Pale, or Titan Green Pale. It's gonna be one of those nights, so I'm going fast and my brain is not catching up. So it's like my brain is like 2 steps behind me right now. A little bit. Maybe in for some interesting words. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's fun. Kind of a different greenery there. And I think I'm going to come in and just add a few little like leafy bits. So just like little random leaves too, just to add to it. And I think I'm going to use kind of a turquoisey green for that. So I'm going to get this phthalo green pale, right? Light phthalo green. I'm 0 for 0 here for the names of these other colors. But this is just the phthalo green blue shade with white. So we've already got that phthalo green on there. I'm going to use, in fact, I'm going to just tap a little bit of that in there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of this green just to kind of make it a little bit more natural. Just kind of tapped a little, or you could probably mix these two together, get something similar. I'm going to get a little bit of the water, or a little bit of the glazing medium, and I do want to mention that I did use glazing medium when I did my background, because I usually use a lot of white or water. I mean, spray the canvas with water and then spread the paint around. And so when I use a lot of water, I tend to like to add the glazing medium to my paint. Okay, just little dots of greenery here and there, and I'll probably have to add more of these at the end. So this is just kind of filler. But right now I don't know where I need the filler, so I'll probably just do these again later. All right. I need this to dry magically. I wish that would work that way. Let's do some background stuff and then we'll come back to it. So I do want to do some glittery. I did set aside some silver glitter because that's very retro, right? So I think I'm going to do some like little clusters of glittery stuff in the background, and I also am going to do some gold leafy things coming out, but I think I'll do that very last. So let's do the background, like little clusters of like splatter and stuff. So we'll just splatter a little bit of stuff, and then what we can do is kind of target those areas with glitter later. So I'm going to get a little bit of white and picked up a little bit of that green, but that's all right. A little bit of white and lots of water. You want this to go to an inky like consistency, and I'm just going to tap around my canvas. That's actually nice having it kind of that minty green. That was a good happy accident there. Trying to get some larger bits. Okay. And those would be the areas that we kind of target with some glitter later. And you could even go in and kind of make some larger dots if you wanted to, or I might just do like, let's do some of this Mars Pale with just a tiny bit of the darker pink and a little bit of that green. Just kind of a neutral beigey gray. And I don't want it too dark, so I'm going to go, I'm making a mess. Get more of that Mars Pale. See how that looks. Yeah, that's good. Okay, there we go. You could do as much as little of this as you want. So I am going to have you take that and dry it, honey, since I've got all these splatters on here, if that's okay. And then I'll clean up my palette while he's doing that.
I will do it.
Thank you. It shouldn't take too long. It's not super wet. It's okay if all the little dots aren't fully dry. I'm going to, just as long as the middle is dry. All right. So let me clear off my palette here real quick. Yeah, having these pre-mixed greens is really nice because it's saving me a lot of mixing time. It would probably have taken me a good 10-15 minutes to get all these colors mixed. So when you're doing a complicated painting, sometimes it's just nice to have these convenience colors. Even though they're not necessary, it does make it a little faster. All right, that should do it. And I use that instead of my scraper. This is a glass palette, but if I use the glass scraper when the paint's wet, it gunks it up really bad. So just using the wet cloth is a little bit easier at this point, or less messy. All right, that's good. I don't think I need to refresh on any of my colors. It'll be pretty good there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to show you here. I'll show you what we're working on in my challenge video right now. We're almost done with it. It's our little Christmas reindeer. We're going to add some more of the like berries and things to it. Some more color, but really fun little project. This is our, I guess, 5 weeks to get to this point. We work on Thursdays for a hour to 2 hours. And thank you, honey. Perfect. Okay, so let's draw our bow. Anyhow, if you want information about the Patreon classes, you can check those out. I'll also have the traceable for this available on Patreon. So there's all kinds of hundreds of videos that I've done for patrons over the years too that are exclusive on the site there. All right, so let's do our bow here. I think I'm going to do kind of more of a single bow instead of the double bow. So something like this. I'm going to kind of do like a triangle shape there, and then sort of a square in the middle, and then come out. And we're going to do a big old ornament here. I think I'm going to do this shape here. I don't know if you can see that. And then do the little bell here maybe. And then like a either a round, maybe just do a round one down here. Maybe do a little bit more into the center. Trying to leave some of that little bit there that I did. Move it a little more to the center. Okay, yeah, so a little tiny bell there, little like a long one there, and then bell or bow. Okay, I think that's good. I might need to lower that down a little bit just so that it's kind of fills that space a little bit better and give myself a little bit more room for this one too. Maybe move it down, both of those down, just looking at it as a whole once I looked up kind of. Okay, so like that. I'm going to just keep this shapes really simple. There we go. Something like that. Okay, you can't really see that very well, but we'll get it there where you can. So for the bow, I think I'm going to do a, let's do an angle brush. I think that'll help me get into the little corners and things. And I think I'm going to do it in a pink, like darker pink, but maybe not quite this dark, but some of those vibes. So this is a Naphthol Pink. That's a new color that Golden came out with. It's Naphthol Red and White, but you can mix something similar with these two, the Cadmium Red Light and the Magenta. Those are the colors that I'd normally use for red. In fact, I'll get a little bit of both of those and use that as a darker value in the center of the bow, and probably add a little bit of the burnt sienna just so that it's a little bit more muted. And then, where's my white? Moved my white, I don't know where it is. Then lots of white there. And if it's not pink enough, I can add a little bit more magenta to make it more rosy. Okay, that's good. going to round out that corner there. And I think have it, maybe have some of the center showing, so maybe we'll have like a little bit of it showing underneath right here. Bows are really popular right now. If you don't know it, or you'll probably see them everywhere now that I've mentioned them. They're very popular. They're having a moment. In licensing and stuff, you'll see them all over. And this pink color with Christmas too is very like the retro Christmas colors. I'm kind of been going hard into the retro this Christmas. I've done the traditional so many times, you know, I'm like, why not do something different? So I've just been kind of doing that. I'm grabbing some of that background pink and I'm going to pull it in. I may have to just wait for this to dry a little bit more before I start to blend in, but I'm going to kind of start to get a head start on the blending. The main thing is you don't want to see that green from our trees. I can see a little bit of it right there. So I need to make sure I wait. So let's do some bright there, and then you want a little bit of the darker red kind of coming out for a little crease right there, okay? And then we'll add some more darker red under here, but let's just let that dry because it's too wet to mess with anymore. Get some more of this. Let's do this side. Same thing. Just make sure you've got plenty of white in your mixture and you won't have any problem covering this background. You may need 2 coats, but it shouldn't take anything more than that.
Do you know why the chef didn't season the turkey?
Why?
Because they ran out of time.
Gosh. That's bad. That one's cheesy.
Cheesy? There's no cheese in that. I gotta find my drum thing here. Exactly. I think it's this one. There it goes.
All right. I might put the opening on this side, you know, kind of like how they do the opposite. Might do the... Okay. That's just going to have to dry. But that looks good. Good start. Yeah, we'll just do like a little bit of the opening right there coming down on that side. So it's kind of twisted opposite. And then our center is going to be right in there. Like that. So it already looks very kind of vintagey to me, especially like the more less is more as far as details, you know, with this vibe. I might make it a little bit more kind of painterly looking where it's not as blended. Looks good though. All right. Let's get some more of this, that darker. Now I want to go dark under here where it's kind of coming out, and it wants to come out right under the bow. The bow should be in the center part of the bow, should be in front of whatever's coming out of it. So don't, you know, put it in the wrong spot here. And I'm talking to myself here with this. And it'll be as wide as the bow, So I might need to make this a little bit wider. Or I might just split this bow up into parts. I didn't think about that. The fact that this part should be wider if the bow's wider up there. So it's probably going to have to be kind of like that. It seems very big. Maybe I don't want it that long. That doesn't bother me. We'll just add some of that over here and it'll be good. Kind of that rosy glow. Just use it to kind of smudge around a couple other places. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to kind of make them a little shorter. Since they're thicker, I don't want them to overpower it. So maybe it'll just end here. And maybe this one is doing something like that. All right. And you can see it obviously needs more white because it's not covering that green. So I'm just going to get some more white, add that. And then we'll come back in and go back in with our darker colors again on top of this. But we need the white in there. White's going to be your most opaque color. So it's just the go-to for when you need to cover up anything. You don't need to put it on super thick because you don't want it to take forever for these layers to dry. So just kind of put it on thin if you need to, and then you can always come back in and paint over it and make it more opaque. Okay, so yeah, I like the brighter pink. I think I'm going to go a little bit more saturated with the colors on the bow and the ornaments than in the reference. Okay, looks good, I think. Sorry, you hear me give myself pep talks as I paint. It's important to stay positive, especially when you get to the ugly stage. So you just have to kind of, remind yourself. Positive reinforcement.
It's going to be okay.
Exactly. Like, she's really bragging on herself all the time during her videos. It's like, no, but my internal dialogue is, that looks terrible. I think you're doing that wrong. So you have to counteract it with positivity. Otherwise you get a little frustrated when you're painting. At least I do. Okay. Doesn't matter how long I've been painting. Every painting is its own little adventure. Okay, I'm trying to decide what brush would be the best to use. Probably should have done this before I started the video, but I was busy. All right, I'm going to grab a couple different. I think this one might be better, just kind of a medium round. The round brush will give me opportunities to put highlights and things. And let's see, what color do we want to use? I think I do want to stick to that goldish yellow for the main color. So let's do that. Let me get, we'll start the main color to be the Unbleached Titanium, and then we'll add yellow to that. It's already kind of a yellowy, like ivory, kind of white. If you don't have this, Buff Titanium is the golden version. Let's go ahead and add just a little bit of that India yellow, because that's kind of a nice gold color. I think that'll be nice. Yeah, that's pretty. Now, it's obviously like too muted. You can't really tell what it is. So we'll need a darker version to go with this, but let's go ahead and just use this to sort of lay in our first ornament, and then we'll darken it up later. So I want this from here to here to be symmetrical on either side, so I just need to keep an eye on that. Make sure I'm kind of creating a center line for the ornaments that has some symmetry on both sides. I think that looks good. And then we'll do little caps on them too. So, all right, that's fine. Let me scoop that up and lay that off to the side here. So that was just the India yellow and Unbleached Titanium. And let's get the India yellow and some burnt sienna and use that. Maybe just a tiny bit of our green. And put in some shadow. Oops, I'm kind of wiping off my underlayer, so I need to make sure. Okay, let's just let it dry. It's not ready for shadows yet. Okay, and this is just a simplification of the shapes too. If you're wondering why I'm doing this, it's not in the picture. It's just saving time. So I am going to do the teal one here, I think. And then this one, let's maybe do another pink, but maybe like a darker pink, like you see that burst of magenta in there. So let's get the Cadmium Red Light and Magenta. I think I might go kind of use both of those in here. That might be a little too much, but we'll see. And then we can use this color in our bow. Yeah. All right, and then I'm gonna grab some white. This might be closer to the color I actually do. Not quite so bright. Yeah, that's probably a little bit better. A little bit toned down. Then I want this ornament to go over the top of this part of the bow, so I want to make sure that I paint this bow is finished before I do anything else. So I'm gonna kind of get this and kind of clean up that tip of that bow. Let me get some white and I'm gonna highlight the front edge of that. This is still too wet. It's not dry yet. Why are these paints not drying tonight? Is the humidifier going in here? It's weird. They're just not drying.
I mean, we did have a lot of rain yesterday.
Oh, that's
Could
probably
be
what it
generally
is. Yeah.
wet.
This should be well dry by now, and it's not, because I did this a while back. trying to get a second coat on here by doing very light touches. So I don't want to lift off anything that's not fully dry yet. Okay. Yep, that needs to dry. Okay. Let's get the darker red right in here, in here. Looks good. Right. And let me get the magenta, a little bit of burnt umber. Use that in the darkest part of that bow, right down in there where everything's kind of coming together.
So what do you call a can opener that doesn't work?
What?
A can't opener.
Can't opener. I like it.
I'll be here all night. Tip your waiter and waitresses.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. He knows I'm too distracted to stop him, so.
The longer this goes, the more jokes I got. So just letting you know. It's up to you.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Good to know. All right.
Keeping the Thanksgiving vibe going into the holiday here.
Right. So I think, all right, so the center of that one's going to be there. I'm just wondering if I want to make this one lower, drop it down a little bit. I think I'll do it here. You can do this with any color, so it'd be basically the same exact principle, but you just change the theme colors. And within each element, you're just wanting to have like a dark, light, and medium version of the colors. So if you don't want to use turquoise, you want to use red or blue or whatever. You're just picking that color and then mixing up a dark, medium, and light version of it to do the highlights and things, and just do the highlights and shadows in the same general areas. So same thing with the bow. You know, if you're doing a dark blue or other color bow, you're just doing your dark, light, and medium versions, you know, in the same general areas as me. So colors is one of the easier things to just change up. You don't want to mess with the values, so that leave the darks and lights in the same areas, but you can change those colors really easily. All right, so just kind of blending off some of that chalk. I can't really go in and do much else with the chalk at this point. And this needs to dry. It's not drying on me tonight. I don't know what. Everything's wet. Like I can't.
Your little hand dryer out?
Yeah, I might. Well, it's pretty loud though.
Turn on the mic for a second.
Okay. Yeah, just we're gonna mute it for a second. And I'm gonna blow dry this real quick. Some colors are shinier than others, but most of the time they'll kind of go matte or slightly duller when they dry, and then you know kind of it's safe to do it. You can also kind of do the touch test, and they'll be, if they're cold, that means they're still drying, but if they're just kind of room temperature, then they're good. All right, I'm just going to real quickly, before anything else, wipe off my chalk marks. And right, that looks good. Okay. Yeah, it's got a really cute little vintagey vibe, I think. That's kind of what I was going for. And I think what we can do is just kind of add berries and things to fill in some of the other areas instead of putting as much detail into the central area here. So let's, first thing I want to do is darken up my area around the center of my thing here. So I'm going to get a little bit of burnt umber or black with my two dark greens there. And then I'm going to get my glaze or just water, either one. And I'm just going to go up here and go over this little area here. Sort of just around these a little bit and darken up around my bow. Doesn't have to be everywhere, but I just want that area to be a little bit more solid. And I'm going to take my paper towel while that's still wet and just kind of wipe through certain areas so that it's not like super solid, but a little bit darker. Just kind of getting that darkest area there. What it'll do is make everything on top kind of pop out towards us, especially anything that's lighter in value. So, okay, that looks good. All right, so I'm gonna get this color again. I'm gonna use this green that I just had, and I'm going to put it on here. Because what's gonna happen is lighter colors are gonna pick up the color of what's around them. So this yellow is gonna pick up that green. I'm just going to make some streaks in that yellow. And then I'm going to grab my shadow color. In fact, I'm going to get a little bit more, maybe get some yellow oxide in the burnt sienna. And grab some of that green. And I'm just going to go from the top down and kind of define the edge of this ornament right there. And I'm not even going to really blend that out. I'm just going to kind of leave it like that. That is also kind of that illustrative vibe. Now this side is lighter, so I am going to blend that side out. I'm going to get a little bit of my lighter color and just kind of lightly brush back into that outline on that side. But this side, I'm just going to leave it kind of outlined looking. I think looks good.
Your biggest fan has joined us.
Hi, Noah. How are you? Did you go shopping with your mom and dad today?
Gigi's been getting ready for the holidays.
I'm not excited at all about cute little tutus with candy canes on them. Anything, not at all. I may or may not have impulse bought candy cane tutus the other day for my two granddaughters that are 3. Noah being one of them. So don't tell anybody, Noah. You're not supposed to know yet. Got a new outfit from Gigi. Oh, it's so nice. I had 3 boys, so if you don't know us, I raised 3 boys, and they were wonderful, and I loved them, and we had a lot of,
There's
fun
34
times.
years of pent up
But
cuteness
yes,
that is being unleashed.
I had to walk by all the cute little baby girl outfits to buy the little, rompers with trucks on them for years.
Oh, I took a picture of Angela standing in front of all the girls' clothes in the store shortly after she learned that she was having not just 1 but 2 granddaughters. And just the look of like
Sheer joy.
finally it has arrived. The promised land is here.
Exactly. Oh, it's the best. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. All right, so I did that. You can see I'm kind of like when I'm adding elements, I'm trying to mimic the shape. So as I go in, I'm going to get closer and closer to the center and continue to mimic that shape. And that's all you have to do really with your highlights and things, is just kind of look at the shape of the item. So if it's a circle, your elements are going to kind of get, it's not like a bullseye necessarily. I mean, it's not like perfectly lined up, but generally you're just going to follow the shape of the item and you're good. We'll go straight here. These ones are going to curve out, and then, at the bottom, we're going to curve this way with our highlights and shadows and things. So on here, when I'm trying to figure out where my highlight might be, because I don't have an actual ornament that I'm looking at, but I know that like if our light source may be coming from this direction, because this is our lighter side of it, then we're probably going to be somewhere in here where it starts to round out away from the edge. You don't want to put your light source right on the edge because that will flatten it out, the image you want. There is a little bit of a shadow on both sides. You can see how my finger here is darker on this side, even though that's my light side, and darker on this side. So the highlight part is going to be kind of centralized or maybe just slightly towards the light. So I'm going to just kind of set this down and sort of pull down. Try to get kind of a light dry brush off of it. There we go. Not too much. And I'll probably come back in and do, but that's, I don't know, I might do a little bit right here. And that's probably all I'm going to do there. Okay? So you can see, but you can still see like it works. It's, I don't know, it's like magic. So I'm going to get a little bit of that original color and just kind of soften up around it a little bit. But I think that's good. And then we might add a little bit more of the green reflections and things in there, or maybe even brighten it up slightly. So, but that's good for that one, I think. And let's finish our bow, because other stuff is going to go on top of it. And then we'll finish our turquoise one here. So I'm going to get, let's get some of the darker red. I kind of already have a lot of the darker red covered, but do want it a little bit darker, like where it comes into the center there on both sides. So I think I'm just going to darken up that area a little bit. And then get my white. And come along that edge. Blend into kind of cleaning up my edge here, so this may not be the final blend because I do still want it darker right here, but it's kind of messy right there, so just kind of cleaning up that edge. And I want it to go darker as it comes around, because it's the same concept of even like a rounded object is going to be darker along the edge if it's rounded here. Now I don't mind it being there because that part's flat. Makes sense? So if it's flat or it's ending, then you can have that abrupt line there, and I don't have to make it look rounded. But here I want it to make it look rounded because that fabric is continuing and wrapping around. So I want this side to have a little bit of a shadow where it wraps around the back side. Okay. Now it looks rounded there. Okay, let's do the same thing here. And again, kind of just following the shape. So maybe over here I'm kind of slightly curving it in. And I'm just doing these little, we went over this blending a couple weeks ago in my blending tutorial. So if you missed it, you can check it out. But this is that kind of flicking dry brush blending where just kind of setting it down and slightly pulling it to get a blend. And I'm going to do the same in the opposite direction here. Okay, get a little bit more water. Maybe get a little bit of this original color. A little bit more orangey. It's good to have like different tones of the reds, you know, in too. So I'm gonna add a little bit of that orangey color here and there. Okay. Get more of that magenta, maybe a little bit of the burnt umber. And let's figure out where we want our creases. So I think I want one crease here kind of coming out, and then one crease here. And then another one here.
No, Noah wants you to know that she has a bow on her Christmas tree, like the one that you're painting.
Oh, really? Oh, neat. Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Is that the one we watched them put up?
I think so. I think she put it at the top of the tree. I remember her seeing her do it with her daddy.
Mm-hmm.
That is very cool. What color is it?
It's red. It's a
Oh,
deep
boy.
red color.
That's awesome.
Yes, I took a screen grab of them trying to do that because
Let me see. Oh. Oh, yes. There. Well, her belly's hanging out. There. He's putting it at the top of the boat.
he's holding her up.
Yeah. I don't know if you can't see what that is, but... Okay. This is where, you know, it's looking a little messy. We'll get it there. Let me see what time it is. Oh, we're good.
No,
That's
we're not.
Famous last words.
You got to move fast. Keep
I do
moving
need
fast.
to move fast. All right, I'm going to put some highlights, kind of bring that part forward. What was that?
Me trying to clear my throat.
Oh, okay.
Not well. He's like,
Okay. Sounded like you were choking.
So, what is a pumpkin's favorite sport?
I don't know.
Squash.
Ah.
All I got was a All right, I need to dig deeper.
Yeah. All right. right, so I want to create a few little shapes here. So you're kind of getting this kind of rounded shape here. And then there's going to be another kind of, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to get super fancy with this. I was going to do it, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to kind of try to keep it simple. I'm not going to try to make it look too realistic. So I've got some pictures of some satin bows that I was going to try to replicate, but I think I'm just going to do this instead. So just kind of blend out that dark into the light there. So it'll be a little softer looking. And then we'll pick this part as our kind of highlight area and just kind of come across there with the lighter color and do it again. There we go. All right, follow that shape with my highlight. There we go. Kind of right in the middle there, just do it nice and bright. Let's do it here. Kind of start out by kind of doing it a little bit more wide. And then there we go. All right, that one got a little thick right there, so I think I'm going to kind of come in with sort of mid-tone between that dark area and the lighter area right there. Just try to soften that off a little bit. I might go a little closer to the edge with this highlight too. I feel like I kind of got it a little bit too in the middle. And push it back closer to the edge there. There we go. This is very light touches for this part where I'm doing the little final glossy bits because I just want it to barely catch on the canvas. All right, that's good. Get some dry brushing highlights. I need kind of my mid-tone color. So get kind of a pink that's sort of in the middle. I've lost all my mid. It's drying out on me, so I'm going to mix up a little bit more. Okay, so this is kind of our mid-tone color. This is what I want to be using right here. Okay, there we go. And then let's get our darker color. This is probably the trickiest part of this whole thing. And I mean, honestly, if you want to simplify it, you could just like do a little bit of a dark right here and kind of pull it out and be done. You don't have to do this part or any, like, it looked okay the way it was when I first put it on, I think so too. So, you know, you can simplify it if it's, this is a lot of blending. And a lot of kind of specialized blending here. going back and forth. Okay, I think that's good. I think it would have helped if I had the original image figured out first. So kind of started one way and then went a little bit more realistic and then changed my mind. So just leave out the middle part where I was trying to add too much of the highlights. Cleaning up, making sure that looks good, and then adding a little bit of the lighter color to the inside of that there, and then I need to add a little rim, so I'm just going to use the edge of my brush and just draw in the little rim of that bow, and just make sure it's coming around right there. Okay. Kind of wonder if I should do it on that side too. Looks kind of funny not having it on both sides, huh? I think I am gonna maybe just make it a little more less wide, but still do it a little bit. Just a hint. Okay. Make sure any of this that you can still see the green through gets covered up. Okay, getting some more of that lighter color. Thinking about where my highlight would be, kind of right here maybe. Coming down. And kind of disappear it as it goes down in there. Right, and then this one, maybe this highlight kind of comes out here. And here. It kind of folds in the middle there a little bit. Let's do the same thing here. I kind of like that look where it's kind of folding in the middle, folding up a little bit. Getting some of that white coming across with it. All right, I think pretty close to where I want to be on this. Now let's do the center of it. So getting that magenta, a little bit of the burnt umber, magenta and cadmium red light. I think I'm going to switch to a little bit smaller brush. I'll have a little bit more control, so I'm going to get that round brush and just use that right on either side, a little bit in that dark area. And make sure this is dark too. And then that highlight, which I already kind of have, so I don't have to do too much. And then get the white, do it kind of right in the middle. Just pulling off the extra. Okay, and then I'm going to get some more of that white and just kind of run it right there and there. Get that water and just kind of blend out anything that's too much. I think there would be a little bit of it right here too, just where that comes around. Probably connect it a little bit. Okay. That's good. We'll let that dry and see. We might just glaze over it a little bit. I feel like I'm not really happy with the highlights on that one, so I feel like it's a little bit too much right here, kind of too. Needs to blend out a little bit more. Just adding a little bit of that darker color there. Okay, that's a little bit better, a little smoother blend. And let's move on. One thing before I do though is I want to use a little bit of this pink and put it on this ornament, this right here that's close, because it would be picking up some of that pink from it, being that close to it. That's only on the shiny objects. The bow wouldn't be picking up necessarily the color of that. It's just that the bow is, or the ornament's shiny and it is really close to it. So it definitely would, and a light color. But generally metallics are going to pick up the colors around them. So I'm going to pick up some of this dark green that we used in here. And I'm adding some of that turquoise to it. And we'll use it on our turquoise ornament up at the top here. Really darken it up. Almost disappear it into the green. And then we'll just kind of use it to do some little shadowy lines coming down. Underneath. Then we'll switch to our lighter green. I'm going to grab this minty green here, the phthalo green light, and just pull it down some streaks, kind of go along that edge there to define it. And then across here, there'll be some highlights coming across. And then on this side, I'm going to go a little bit darker. So I think I'm going to use that turquoisey green and highlight that side with the turquoisey green, with just that teal. Add a little bit of that phthalo green blue shade to it. And then at the bottom, there'll be some little shadows, and that's good. And we may add white to it. You can see the white absorbs into the color that you put it onto. So that was white right there, but it's not anymore. So I'm going to get some more white. Just kind of come back right there and add a little bit bright shine. And so we'll do that on this turquoisey one too, kind of like just sort of find a line to bring it down and make sure we have it all the way down. Right. Cute. And then I think I'm going to get some of that darker green and just do kind of a line that sort of curves around to identify the shape, and also kind of come below that with sort of a little bit of a line to define it. Alright, I'm going to leave that. Let's work on our red one and go a little bit more magenta with this than this pink bow color, so a little bit more magenta in my pink. Give it a second coat. It's very, very, well, you can see a lot of the green stuff through it there. All right, and then let's get some darker magenta and just figure out where we're wanting to do this. So we'll go darker underneath and on this side, again following that line, and just kind of leave that center part a little bit lighter right there. Go really dark magenta, just magenta only. And then wipe that out. Do a little bit thinner. Okay, some white. Wipe that out. And then let's get a little bit of this kind of orangey red. Use that up here. Maybe this has a stripe through it. Yeah, that's cute. Maybe like a little snowflake or something in the middle. Less is more with this. You don't need to define it really carefully, just kind of little tiny indications of stuff is all you need. Okay, we'll add some trying to do a little highlight there. It's going to go right over our decorations, so don't worry about decoration or anything. I definitely want kind of a brighter something right in there. And we'll do these kind of gold, I think. All right, let's get going with the rest of our things. So we need the caps to these. Get some gray. I'm gonna just use this background color, my black, and do my little cap with the dark gray. Kind of overlap the ornament just slightly. And then get some white and find our top. That went on really soupy, so I'm going to have to just let it dry there. I'm going to get some black here and come back with some darker lines through it, and then the silver ring. Gosh, it's so soupy. I don't know why it's going on so soupy. There, I guess I didn't clean out my brush all the way. Had water in it. And mix that gray. All right, so let's do like a little indication of a tiny rope too. I'm going to get some unbleached titanium or some, I don't know, maybe some pink. And we can just do a little line coming up. It can be buried into that greenery, so it doesn't have to, but it'll look funky if they're just sitting there with nothing, you know, nothing at all. So just a little string. And then let's get some of our greens. Maybe go like a little bit more lime electric green or something. And we'll add some other greens here. Fun to try different colors. Okay, that's nice. And then let's do some berries. So this is where we can kind of introduce whatever colors we want. Let's also do some of those little starburst, like little deals. So I'm gonna kind of do with a light gray, and then either that or, no, I kind of do like the little starburst things. They're just kind of fun, funky looking, very retro feeling. So do a couple of them. Maybe one there. Maybe one. Yeah, let's do it here. And then maybe like another one right here. Okay, I'm just going to do the simplified version. I'm not going to try to do the star, I don't think. These are just those little tinsel stars, so just taking the white over that black area and just kind of pulling out a little starburst. You can just do greenery here if you don't like these. It's up to you. It's just kind of another little fun thing to try.
Is this the fun part?
This is fun, yes. This is where you can get creative. So this where, yeah, let's do some more green here. So I'll do up here, kind of pull the teal up here. Do that dark green and some of that minty color in there. And maybe this one will be this darker pink, more magenta. And then we'll do this one yellow. Kind of one for each color thing that we're doing. Okay. Be fun. Okay. Let me get I'm going to get a liner brush and my gold. I'm going to use the fluid gold. If you have it, it'll make it easier to paint. And I'm going to use some iridescent bronze for dimension. So I have two dark, a darker and a lighter version of gold. And get my liner. We'll just start with the darker color. And let me see what I want to do with this. Let's do it over some of this green gold that we just did. Some of the same areas there. And then get that lighter green gold and put that in. This looks really nice over that green gold color. And these ones I'm just kind of doing long, thin branches, not doing the needles the same way as I did before. I don't have to. I don't know if you're seeing that, but it's just had a little sparkle. Just going back and forth between the two colors. I don't want to do it everywhere because then it kind of takes away from the impact. So I'm going to keep an eye on, look at it every now and then and see if you need to pull back. Like that may be too much up there in that dark area. I didn't think about that. I need to keep that area dark so that it has some dimension in there. So okay. We can do right here, just not quite everywhere. It's nice to overlap a little bit. All right, let me get some more of my white. I could do silver here too. I do have silver. Like do silver on these little bits here. But I think I'm just gonna use my white. It mixed a little bit of that metallic into the white just so that it's like slightly shiny. Fun. Okay, and then it definitely needs the berries just to kind of tie it all together. So, oh, and I want to add the gold on my ornaments here. So. Let me get my white. I'm switching to a 2 round in the aspen, and I'm gonna highlight my little ornament tops, just a few little dabs to like those. Are we liking this?
Mm-hmm.
Good. I feel like the bottom of that needs to be different. defined a little bit better, so I'm going to just try to get a little bit of that darker color. There we go. And maybe it'd have some highlights down there too. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, this one could use a little highlight there. Get a little bit of that pink. Add a little bit of, just a little suggestion of pink there. Oh, what did I do there? That fluid just kind of rolled down the painting. Didn't stay place. Get some of that orangey red. Okay, I like that kind of more orangey red there. That's good. Get the white. My white is so dirty. I'm having a hard time. Need to put out some fresh white probably. Okay, so I want to I like that a bit. Let's try doing that again with the gold. See if I can get it to stick. Okay, I think my brush was just too wet earlier or something. All right. Get some burnt sienna. And that's what's happening. I'm trying to go too fast and I'm not.
Yeah,
Not.
plenty of time.
Okay.
You got plenty of time. Take your
Okay.
time there, my love.
All right.
Good, no place to be.
Okay. Get some magenta.
Are you done yet?
Okay. I do like the gold accents. It's cool. But I think I need to add in just a little bit more of the green. So I think I'm going to go with I'm going to go back to maybe this brush and get some sap green maybe. Maybe some of this Titan buff color. No, what is this color? The Titan green. And let's do some like little leafy bits. And I'm going to target the areas where the gold goes in. And that way I've got some little like overlapping there. See that? And that way it's just kind of hiding where that starts. And then I can kind of create movement. So, you know, if you get too much of a football shape, you can kind of use this to divert attention and change the shape of it. So maybe I want some leaves kind of coming out like this. Just setting my brush down and kind of letting these fun little leafy shapes happen. Okay, that's nice. So that's kind of feels very fresh. It is Christmassy, but it's not too like, I don't know. I like the little addition of the different kinds of leaves. All right, then the berries is definitely going to help because I think I want to use like a red, like a real red, you know, like get. And this used sparingly will help because I think our main color here, well, we've got two main colors. We've got the green, but the green is kind of a neutral, so you can kind of treat it like that. So we have our pink, our blue, and our yellow. And our pink is definitely our color that's dominating. So I want to add more of that. And then the teal is our secondary color. So we'll add some more berries, or like we already have these leaves in the turquoise. So I want to make the red more dominant. And then this will be our third color that is the least dominant. So like 10% here, 30% of this, and then what does that leave? 60% of that, right? So we'll just find some spots to put in some berries. And I don't want to cover up too much of the really fun stuff we've got going on here. So just going to kind of find some spots that might work. And just throw in a few little berries. Maybe one there. Maybe like here, we'll just do one or two. Cluster them together. And then over here, like I don't want it straight across, so I want to maybe go up here with it. Do one. Nah, I don't know if I like that. Too much. Oops, I covered up my green there. Maybe I just do it in, maybe right here. Maybe I do a third one on this one. Gonna move those. Don't be afraid of moving stuff. You know, you got some time to decide if you put something somewhere and you don't like it. Okay, so I'm gonna move that up just a little bit. And then here, and then separate them out a little bit more. Definitely need one over here. And then maybe one. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to overdo. So let me get some white. And highlight these. I'm going to pull them back a bit more pink. Then I can go back in and add my darker red again. Yeah, that's cute. Okay, going back in with my darker red again, just gonna defining them. And it's blending with that light color, so it's kind of creating a mix. And here I don't really need it, so I'm gonna get some lighter color instead in here. Add some highlights. Just dabbing it in the upper right side, or upper left side, I mean, where our highlight side is. cute. And then let's go back in with some of these bright turquoisey and maybe double load the brush so we got a little bit of the lighter and darker on here, and just put a few little dots with this turquoise color. Okay. It's fun. I wish I'd made my bow a little bit smaller. Like it feels a little overpowering, but I mean, I don't know. Look at that fun. All right, let's do, I'm like going full out here. We're just gonna do glitter. Why not? I'm gonna clean those out. Let me get a little bit more of my white here. And do my highlight on there. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good, and I like how this dried. Like, it looked pretty bright when I first put it on, but it kind of toned down as it dried, so it's good. And like, you can end at any point here. If you don't like certain elements, leave them out. Like, it's up to you. It's your painting. So this is the fun thing about doing something like this. This is just a glitter that I got sent from Artizo a couple of years ago, and I haven't used it. And it's pretty, so let's use it. All right, so I'm just going to use matte medium, I think, because that'll dry clear, and I won't, you know, I could use gel medium too, or I could probably even just use my gloss gel, but the matte medium is a little thicker, so I think it'll stay. And I think I'm just going to use my palette knife. We'll see. I'm not sure if this is going to work or not. I haven't tried it, so, but in theory, this should work, so we'll see. I'm just going to find a couple spots on my palette here that I want to do glittery stuff and kind of mark out some little bits, and then just kind of scrape it in sort of random places. Not too thin, because I do want it to be able to catch that glitter. Okay. This is going to be a nightmare to store, by the way, so just wouldn't recommend this if you're going to like store this long term. I'm going to have to put tissue paper or something around it to protect it, to get it from, you could probably just use regular school glue even here. I don't know. Do I want to use my fingers? I'm going to have to go in with my fingers. This is like an old Christmas card. This is what gave me the idea, because I was researching like vintage ornaments, you know. I actually owned the ornaments in this picture, so I bought them. I found them at a local thrift store a couple of years ago. So they're beautiful. Can't wait to put them out this year. But if you look at the old Christmas ornaments or Christmas cards, they have these like areas of glitter, random areas of glitter that are just really fun. All right, why don't we do some, we could probably do some in the middle too. Here, let me do some with this and see if it sticks to this. So, whoop, not that. Okay, we'll just do some there and there. This is fun because it's got little stars and stuff in it. I have no idea. Let me see if it says what it is on the bottom. It does not. So, but it's, you know, I'm sure you can still find glitter wherever you are. Glitter, it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. All right. There we go. We're gonna tap it off. It's probably all gonna, oh, it's sticking some. So there we go. And then I'll varnish over the whole thing so that it really stays put. And then hopefully it won't flake off every time I touch it. All right, very vintagey, and now I have glitter all over my studio, and I'll probably be finding it for weeks, but that's okay. It was worth it.
It's fun.
It is fun. Whatever, you know, like you can't, this is not an all year thing. You gotta take advantage of the opportunity that Christmas provides
Yep, you gotta lean
to get a
into
little lean into it for sure. Lean into the kitsch. All right, so there we go. That's fun.
Somebody said this would be great for Christmas cards.
It would be. Oh, it'd be perfect.
It would be if you don't like the people you're sending them to. Just saying.
Here's some glitter. I'm going to let you vacuum.
No, it would
Nothing
be
says
pretty.
I want you to vacuum your house like a glitter Christmas card.
That'd be awesome.
All right, guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this one. This was super fun for me. I got all my inner child on this one. I loved it. So, a very nostalgic feeling. Really fun. And you could, you know, add details to your ornaments too. I mean, we have time, but I'm not going to mess with it. But you could do all kinds of fun stuff with this.
Now, where can they find the other video?
If you want to watch the original of that one, we did it on Patreon. So it's the $15 tier.
Okay.
And that includes the reindeer that we're doing this year. So that was last year's project for Christmas, and it took several weeks, and we did each ornament. There's multiple ornaments. I think we did 8 or 9 ornaments,
Yeah,
and then
I mean,
made a fabric out of it.
I will say when I first saw it, I was like, "What are you doing with pictures of ornaments?" And they were the paintings. They weren't pictures. They were very, very impressive.
I don't see them. I'm not sure what I did with the original.
They may be in the other room, in the storage.
No, because they might be in this, but anyhow, yeah, I didn't think about looking for it. Let me see. Not there. Oh, maybe it's here. Let me see if I find it in here. This would be the place for it if I have it in here with my watercolors, which I don't think I do. Nope. Is it there? Nope. Is it there? Nope. I found it. Whoa. Yeah, so there's the originals of the paintings. Yeah, Mark was like, what? So that's the project that we did last year, and then we cut out the other
one
elements.
in the upper left-hand corner is just so metallic looking. It looks like
Yeah, that one. Yeah, really fun. So the Patreon bonus videos or Patreon challenge videos give me more time. You know, I just have time to take my time, and we do much more realistic type stuff usually in that setting, because those are, like I said, each ornament took an hour or so at least to get it just right, you know. But of course we got it, you know, we got a fun version of it here that's much more like painterly and kitschy and vintagey style. So that was kind of what I was going for here. Definitely went a little bit darker than the reference, so you could always go a little bit more pale with your pinks if you preferred that. So, or change up the colors altogether. All right, that's it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Hope you enjoyed this, and we will be back next week. Yeah, we're taking Thursday off for Thanksgiving, but we'll otherwise keep in our regular schedule this month, and our December schedule's coming out soon. We're going to be painting a nutcracker next week.
Ooh, nice.
So if you like nutcrackers, join me for that. All right, thank you guys so much. Have a great, happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you next time. Bye.